I get my peaches out in Georgia. That's that shit.
shit.
Welcome back to your favorite podcast, Couple Fucking Fuck Pod.
Get my weed from California.
That's that shit.
Ah.
I get my podcast from Couple Pine Spot on YouTube.
Get my
That's that
podcast
shit.
from Brooklyn. Come on.
Fucking abandon society and call me a woodsman. This is Couple Pine Spot, episode 70. If you haven't checked out the Conspiracy Orgy, go check it out. Episode 69. Hey, but imagine when we get to episode 420. I'm gonna be so fucking high.
Oh my gosh.
So this week, once again, we're gonna dive right into it, and we're talking about not even woodsmen.
No, not even woodsmen.
But we're talking about people who abandon society and go to live within the national park system.
That's a real thing.
And so the conspiracy with this is not only is it a real thing, but if you have seen American Horror Stories' new spin-off series called American Horror Stories, there's an episode about people who live in the national park system. And that's not what we're basing this episode off of, but that's a huge factor for me.
Big plane.
So basically the premise of this episode is this adorable couple and their maybe 5 or 6 year old kid go camping in Yellowstone.
Yep.
And what happens is overnight home, or not even overnight. What happens is dad and kid are fishing. The parents are already on the rocks because that makes for good TV. And dad and kid are fishing, and they're like running through this fucking woods to get down to a clearing at the river to go fishing, right?
Like
so they're running, and the kid's like,
"This is fun, Dad. I love you. This is the best, Dad."
And this creepy ending, this creepy laughing ends, and then all of a sudden the dad's like, "I'm gonna make up a name here, Caleb." That might actually be his name, Caleb. And home son's nowhere to be found, not homeboy, home son. So homeboy, meaning dad, goes back, and the wife's like, "What do you fucking mean you lost our kid?"
Diane,
so
he's gone.
The couple, spoiler alert,
Caleb's gone.
The couple goes to the park ranger station. They're like, "Our son disappeared." And the park ranger, because it's American Horror Story, was like, "Classic, dude. The shit always happens around here." But the park ranger's a dick. I made him sound way cooler than he actually is.
Didn't I warn you?
So long story short, the park ranger's like, "Yeah, there's a bunch of people that live in these woods. They're cannibals. Don't fuck with them. They won't fuck with you." Unfortunately, they probably took and ate your son. Come the end of the episode, well, these homeless cannibals start attacking the park ranger station, and park ranger whips out a shotgun and starts blasting them away.
Bam, bam.
And they all run away, and the dad's like, "They have my son." So dad starts running after him, and then he comes to this clearing, and his son is the king of the homeless park people who are cannibals, and they have their own language. And then mom runs up, and like the park people are encroaching, and the son goes like, "Yabba dabba doo," and then they eat the parents. And that's what sparked my interest in this episode topic. Also, this episode topic is brought to you by my dank GF, Olivia.
Dank.
So yeah, it's what we're talking about. If you're not along for the ride, you should be, because it's some crazy shit. I mean, I'm sure. Let's get into it. How do you feel about this?
It's creepy, but it's creepy because of how true it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the mole people in a sense.
Yeah.
And since my car's broken, I've been on the subway every day, and like every time we're in the tunnels, I shit you not. Well, yes, is today Saturday? Yesterday on my way home, I've been bringing edibles to work, so on my commute home I could get really high. So I was like baked as fuck on the subway. And we were delayed in a tunnel, and there's like graffiti all over the walls and shit. And I was like, who painted this?
What's going on?
Like, we were deep, like we were dead in the middle between two stations that were like 3 miles apart. So I was thinking like maybe this is like mole people hieroglyphics.
Oh,
but we're talking about national parks. So the point I was trying to make was, it's really fucking creepy in the sense that like there's a whole nother civilization under the streets of New York, which maybe that'll be the next episode. But the point I'm trying to make is it's fucking weird.
It's think of a beautiful place randomly turned into a nightmare because you see a literal cave person, unbathed, unshaved, just matted hair, probably wearing leaves or animal skin or clothes that
What do they
stole
wear?
from the people they just ate.
Maybe.
But you
Are
see
they
that.
armed? Do they have weapons?
I guarantee they use spears.
Because in the show, they would just like fucking run after you and like tackle you to the ground and rip your jugular out.
Well, they say if you
jugular
eat
out.
enough human meat, you do become a crazed creature.
I mean, look,
I mean,
in reality, there are like groups of people called homesteaders that abandon society and they go out, not necessarily into national parks. A lot of them are in Alaska because that's like no man's land.
You get paid to live there.
Literally no man's land. But they're like, even fucking Google it. There is a civilization of people who live in like famous national parks.
Deep in the parks
that aren't park rangers.
No, we're not talking people who got lost and just can't
well,
find their way.
That's a whole nother like sub theory. Is there
that they are people?
There's a whole like subdivision of people who got lost and like live in just basically solitary confinement. No, not even communes. Like so based off what I've read about it and what Olivia told me about it is like there's the communes of people who like chose to go there and live off the grid and be fucking weird in national parks. And then there's this whole subdivision of people who get lost. And then they're like kind of like just spread throughout and like really have no human contact, which is sort of like a Unabomber vibe. Like that's like where you start to lose your mind and do some weird shit. Because also if you're getting lost, like if we went in the woods and we got lost, eventually one of us is murdering the other. 10,000%. Eventually, like you're my fucking best friend, but eventually you're the bigger one. You'll probably kill me, but like that's the point I'm trying to make. So there's like this law and order of this weird subdivision of society where these people live in communes in national parks, and then there's like this subdivision of these crazy people who get lost and like lose their fucking minds and like kill people. I think that's how it works.
Let's break it down.
I have no sources on this.
Let's break it down exactly like
but it makes it more exciting if that's how it operates.
Oh, that makes, you know, the story of, I think it's like when dingoes or something that mimic human voices to lure you into the woods, mandingos or whatever they are.
What the fuck?
I don't know, but there's some
chupacabra,
some mythological creature that
mermaids. They do that.
They do. They
but they're not on land. I know what you're talking about. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
continue.
They lure you into the woods with mimicking.
Oh, nymphs, wood nymphs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if they're not wood nymphs? What if they're the people? Because the people who follow the sounds and go to see what's happening never are seen again.
Well, that was the whole premise of the American Horror Story thing. Like they attack and then they start running away, and the dad's like, "Wait, that's where our son is." And he follows like the screechy, weird language that these people have. And then he runs up on the small community they've created. What the fuck is that? Ambulance. And fucking him and his wife get eaten alive by their son, who's the king of this whole thing.
Oh, I love that that's the way they spun that.
It was really good.
Little ass kid, king of the tree people.
But like by the time they find him, he's like a teenager.
Oh god.
On this like almost like Game of Thrones Iron Throne of Skull and Bones. And he's like speaking some non-existent language. And he says something and then they all eat the parents. Well, the most interesting part about it is the kid doesn't partake in eating his parents.
So he just
he's just like fucking Ami Namina a shaka shaka a nami namina it's time for that.
It's
Almost
eating time.
that could be taken the wrong way. I was making fun of Shakira speaking in foreign tongues. But the kid doesn't partake in it. So that makes you think, if there are these colonies, random side thought. Do you think the double rainbow guy was one of these people?
No.
He was just a camper
I feel like he was just
who made his
random
way
camper.
back.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't heard of him since the double
that's
rainbow video.
Right. He disappeared. But then again,
Like, no one knows who he is because you don't see him. It's just the double rainbow. It's so epic.
That guy steals the phone of the random person, posts it on their account. Everyone thinks it's that person. Never
But
really
it's some
was that
woods person.
It was never really
Oh
them.
shit, dude.
The wood people are getting famous by using
other people's stolen devices. Is there even service in national parks? That's a topic for a different day.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Either way, this is a public service announcement.
Didn't one episode a while back I make the reference that there are multiple cave systems that connect underneath national parks?
Well, underneath like the country.
Yeah, all over. So,
yeah. But those are like mole people in their own right.
Yeah, so wow.
Those are literal mole
How
people.
How many subdivisions of lost people do you think?
That also makes me think, on like a census level, how many people are actually in the United States?
There's so many.
Because the census tells us there's so many millions of people, right? I don't know the number because like Manhattan alone is 8 million people, which is, that's a whole nother episode. But if you think about it, we have the US Census that tells us, oh, this is the population. But there are all these people in Alaska and in national parks and subterranean people. There's subterranean versions of fucking Americans.
Yep.
I combine divisions and versions.
Think about that. We're not lying to you right now.
Like, okay, wait. Now we're opening a vault of shit that I don't think either of us even comprehend fully. No. So, wow. Do you think the cave people are like more volatile, for lack of a better word, even though that's a great word, but like, do you think the cave people are more volatile than the parks people? Like, maybe the parks people attack hikers, right?
Yeah.
And then the cave people come out and attack the park people. And then like, they're like fucking hyenas and they like scavenge off the park people's kill, but then they kill a bunch of park people and like drag them back into the caves. Dude, we're writing a movie right now.
We are writing a horror movie.
There's
with
so many parts, layers to
one
this.
Scarier than the other.
Oh, that's terrifying. Because yeah, I think in the cave episode we put the map of the cave system, which literally spans the entire US and it's all connected.
What connected it?
And then you could argue that gets into evolution. Can these cave people see in the dark?
What if these cave people are just monsters?
I remember when I was in high school, I watched a movie about this like group of women, and for some reason it's a bridal shower. And for some reason they decide, oh, what's the best way to fucking have a bachelorette party? Let's go splunking. You know what splunking is?
No.
It's exploring caves.
Oh.
So these women go splunking. They go explore a cave and they rappel down. And like opening scene of the movie, this woman's rope snaps and she like hits the ground and like breaks her back. And she's like, how am I going to get out of this? So now they're stuck there. Right. And these like Voldemort looking cave people, except the only difference between them and Voldemort is they have no eyes. I forget what the movie's called. It might be called The Cave. It was a really bad horror movie. So these like Voldemort looking people, but with like their eyes are just like the skin over your eyes. They come out and started like terrorizing them. And like, that could be a real thing. Maybe the writer of that movie went splunking and experienced this civilization of cave people that actually exist that the US government's like, nah, this is not fucking real. Because you can't, hey, another hot take, you can't deliver the census to people who live underground. There's no mailboxes underground.
There's no red flags. There's no PO box. Wow, that
and it's the same as the woods people.
interesting.
So let's get back to the woods. How many people, like, yeah, there's homesteaders and there's literally shows about people who are like, I live off the grid, like Les Stroud, Survivor Man.
Yeah,
He actively, he retired from the show and he lives off the grid in Alaska with his wife and his kids. And he's happy. He has a YouTube channel. It's fantastic. But how many people don't do that? Like, for all we know, the population of America is like double, triple what it actually is, because there's no way to actually tally these people who are like, fuck the government. We're going to live underground. We're going to live in the park system and fucking eat people. Or maybe they just have a bad rap. Maybe these underground people are just like, yeah, we eat fucking bugs and shit.
I don't. Yeah, we've heard through delivery pigeons that people are giving us raps that we eat people.
Yeah, who knows?
Wow, just thinking that there's a whole gotta be thousands, just thousands of people who decided.
I think thousands is a safe number.
That's
at the end of the day.
If you had to choose, where are you going? You going underground or
no? I'm living in a park.
You're living in the park?
I can't live underground.
I have to live in the park.
You got to live in a park. At least then you have, like, yeah, you're by yourself unless you live in one of these weird communes. But like at the end of the day, you're surrounded by nature. You have the resources you need. Like the underground, I don't know how that works.
Imagine the underground civilizations are just perfectly sculpted rooms right into the side of the rock.
Yeah, who knows? Because then you have to think,
they got
like,
an M&M store.
You got a fucking Legoland down there.
They got a knockoff Disney,
H&M's and shit.
Lululemon's got sales every day.
Fucking Gucci clearance rack. But you got to think, living underground, like, think about when you wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning before the sun's up and you flick the lights on, how painful that is. So if you live in darkness, and I'm assuming they've adapted to live in darkness.
Oh, yeah.
You can't go sub or fucking above ground. You can't breach the cave.
Once you choose the darkness, you can never leave.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd rather live in a park and just be like, what up? I think that'd be fun. Like I've been saying for years, I want to try and do like alone and just like see how long I can go with a limited amount of supplies, meaning like tools and whatnot. But underground, that's a whole different beast.
I want to go back to the point of the movie where they said they rappelled down when they were splunking. I will never rappel down a hole into a fucking
dark hole. A hole you can't see the bottom of. Yeah, let's just go down there.
Yeah, lower me down, Susan. It'll be okay.
And then, of course, like cheesy Hollywood, her rope's like rubbing the rock the wrong way and it breaks and she falls like 50 feet. Somehow lands directly on her back and survives.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That movie was terrifying, though. God. I don't like scary shit, but it probably, like, if I rewatch it after this, I'll probably be like, this is bullshit. But
yeah, that's the only way I can get through horror movies is picking them apart. Because right now I keep playing out these scenarios in my head where you and I are doing like a hike exploration episode.
Like one of our eventual bachelor parties where we're going to rappel down a hole.
And we get down and we see exactly what we're referencing now. Just fucking
some Voldemort looking motherfuckers with no eyes. No, it's not sockets. Like their eyes got like they evolved to where their eyelids just don't open. So it's like you can see like the shape of the eye, but it just there's no lashes or like opening.
Oh,
which is almost more fucked up than just not having eyeballs.
I know.
I don't even know what we're talking about now.
Now we're just we're just getting worried about the fact that this is actual real shit and people are doing it right now as we speak. As we speak, there could be someone being stolen from a national park.
Yeah, probably.
Never to be seen again.
And that brings us back to episode 69. Like, you have to think, are there people that live at the bottom of the Grand Canyon? Because you can easily you can take a hike that brings you to the basin of the Grand Canyon. Big words. Big words. In my head, things like that, like the Grand Canyon is over popularized in the sense of like, I think that's like the biggest national park. Like, that's the most famous national park.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have a place like Yosemite that Pete brought up 2 weeks ago. They don't even know how big it is. And that's woody areas, mountainous terrain. Like the Grand Canyon, you start looking into it. So it's like if there was some weird colony of people in it, and yeah, it's fucking massive, but we've mapped all of it.
Yeah, you'd still be able to see it.
We know how big it is. There is a number that tells us how large that park is. But in terms of like Yellowstone, Yosemite, like these parks that just have no end and no one knows what happens, and no one actually has an exact number on how large that space is, that's where this shit goes down.
Oh,
this is one of the very few conspiracies that I would be like, yeah, it's real.
Yeah, no, there's no arguing. No, we're on the same exact.
Well, how could you argue it? What's your argument? No,
dude,
it's not real.
No, they wouldn't be able to do it. People would see them.
No,
they couldn't hide. People are everywhere.
People ain't seeing. Fucking stay woke. All right. Do we have to finish?
I was gonna say I don't have any other points to make.
All right.
Do you have more points?
Short episode, I guess. I could go on for the rest of the day about this, but now I just feel pressured and uncomfortable. All right, we're gonna cut this episode short. Go watch the aluminum tube because apparently it's more important than us. Not taking that one back. And if you go on a hike, just be safe.
Keep an eye out.
Stay on the trail.
Turkey.
That's the thumbnail. Stay on the trail. Don't fucking abandon civilization and move to a national park because it's sketchy. Don't live underground because that's also sketch. And we're gonna let you go now.
All right. Oh, thanks for having me.
You're the co-host.
Thanks for having me on your show, man.
Yeah, dude, no problem. I'd love to have you back eventually. I mean,
great.
Maybe a couple episodes from now you can come back and join us.
I love being here.
So
this has been The View. Oh,
this has been a great episode of the Ellen DeGeneres Show.
Oh fuck! No, it's just named the Dr. Phil Show.
All right, we're holding up real professionals, so let's wrap this shit ass bullshit up.
All right, then it's safe to say,
fuck this podcast.
Safe to say.
Wait. This has been
Couple Pines Pod. Oh, it's safe to say,
don't go hiking without a fucking high-powered rifle. And don't explore caves. Just don't do it.
Don't rappel into caves.
Don't do it. You thinking about having a bridal party in a cave? No. All right.
Bad idea.
See you next week.
Bye.
Love you guys.